Welcome to the People's Congress, where we, the Congress, represent you, the people, each night as we discuss the issues impacting you, the middle class. The People's Congress is now in session.
All right, welcome back to the People's Congress. Man, we are excited about everything that's going on. We have a packed house of our Congress tonight all over the country, and they're ready to give you some information that you can use to help you and your family be empowered, educated, and inspired. So let's go ahead with introductions. First, we'll start off with Prosperity Financial Services owner, Saa'dia. What's going on with you?
Hello, everybody. I'm Saa'dia Douglas with Prosperity Financial Services. You can give me a call for any of your tax needs. If you have a business and you need business services, back office, I'm the company to call, Prosperity Financial Services.
All right, and we go to the famous author herself, Adrian in Philadelphia. What's going on with you?
Hey world, this is Misunderstood Adrian. I am the CEO of IMA Industry. We are the guaranteed climate and social customer cold climate change people. And like you heard, I am the new author of Surviving Tough Times. And I want to come to wherever you are. So make sure when you get your thing, you holler at the girl and let you know I'm on my way. We're going to handle some business.
All right. We go to Miss Tanya in West Virginia, the mayor of West Virginia. No, I'm joking, Congresswoman. You're on mute, Tanya. You're on mute. There we go.
This is Tanya from Martinsburg, West Virginia. I'm one of the founders of Gappy Hands Outreach. We assist with a variety of programs here in West Virginia, ranging from recovery, life insurance, and other things in the community to assist the community.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Romy Rome, let's think about it. What you got?
Hello, folks. I'm Jerome Red, a.k.a. Romy Rome, Baltimore's own, at Let'sThinkChangeGrow.com, where we help you think, change, grow, and maximize your greatness. Hello.
All right, Marquis Washington with the good stuff.
Yes, this is Brother Marquis from Indianapolis, Indiana. I am the marketing director for the Good Stuff Sauce LLC, where my 16-year-old entrepreneur son has created the good stuff. You can find us online at facebook.com/goodstuffsauce.
I can taste the goodness all the way over here. All right, we go to Kevin, the quality control man. What's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, all across the globe, welcome to your future. Kevin Vaughan, CEO and founder of the MLT Network. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? We are betting on you. To bet, what is that? Well, it's business, education, training, and technology. We can help you, ladies and gentlemen, at MLTnetworks.net. Thank you so much.
All right, now we go to last but certainly not least, Yimatele Corsi, the Queen of Africa, in her penthouse in New York.
Hi, this is Yimatele Kwashi, Long Island, New York. I am not a business owner currently, but I am pursuing a career in social advocacy.
All right, and I am Stephen Walker, the official owner of Hollywood. That's right, I own Hollywood in California. All of that's my property. I'm letting people rent it every month. You want to reach me, mypurposemypower.com. I own a company called Manifest Media. We are a graphic designs branding company, and that's my website. If you're looking for a business coach, I'm your guy. Give me a call. All right. The People's Congress is now in session, and we're going to start off with a topic that is very important. It has everything to do with getting things delivered to your door and making a little bit of cash. And we're going to go ahead and toss it over to our main man, Jerome Rome.
Welcome. Stephen, that's not one of the topics I read.
Hey, I was just
He was trying to see if you was ready. That's all. I was trying to see if you was ready. You know what I mean?
I was trying to see if you were going to catch the ball and run with it. All right, Marquis. Help him out, Marquis. What you got here? He didn't fall for it. I was hoping he was going to run with it. I want to see what he was going to say.
Well, this story here is basically about a gentleman who decided to do DoorDash delivery because I believe his job got cut due to coronavirus, so he had to do a side hustle. And this is what he found. He found the DoorDash opportunity, and he went in deep. And he basically the article basically tells us about his average day, how he began, and how much money he has made, and even where he can go to make money in his
secrets
in his local area. And I believe he was somewhere in, I know I'm wrong, I thought it was Seattle, but he was somewhere out in the Pacific Northwest. Yes. And so the thing that I pulled away from this article is that regardless of anything, you can't let life hang you up. You always have to continue to look for the opportunity wherever that is. And that's one reason why we are all here, is because we see the opportunity and we are going to capitalize on that said opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said it, Tanya. What's your take on the story?
Just like he said, I like articles, like this, because it shows, the life challenges that, the individual goes through, and how he still worked it out, because he said he had to pick up his kids in between time and other things he had to do for his wife, that he was still able to get that stuff done and still get back out there and, make the money that he had to make, for his, for the family. But he did explain real well the pros and the cons of DoorDash, the good things about it, as well as the not so good things about it. But you got to know how to work it. So he, learned the system and how to work the whole DoorDash thing, because, as far as the tipping and people not tipping and that kind of thing, and, just making sure it worked out for, him and his family, so they're still able to survive and live. So that's what I mean about the article.
Yeah, he's doing what he has to do to help his family survive in these tough times. So kudos to him and everyone in the middle class that's making it happen for their family. We love our middle class people, and we want to give a shout out to Mexit and ATS, helping the middle class to exit out of poverty mentality into riches. All right. So now let's talk about it, Congress. Let's talk about this. Let's take a poll first. Who has used a service like DoorDash? Show of hands. All right. So that's about half the Congress. Oh, a little delayed there by the Queen. She had to think about it. All right. So now let's take it to the Congress. What do you guys think about those kind of services, and what was your take on using those services?
Well, I'll tell you my experience, and on top of that, this whole experience, I've used them often, even when I was in transportation, being a truck driver. They were quite valuable when, as a truck driver specifically, you're at a large facility, you can't leave, you're literally trapped. And I mean, you can't leave the area, because at any time they can say, all right, you can leave. Then you have to go through the guard gate, blah, blah, blah. But you can call these people, they'll literally deliver to the dock door. So they were invaluable. It's an invaluable service. And for me, like this gentleman here, he would tell you sometimes that sometimes the tip money wasn't worth the drive. And so whenever I could, I would make sure that they do get tipped handsomely. And I say that also because I was a driver for Uber as well. Okay. And it's the same kind of situation, to where you don't want to leave your house unless there's a serious opportunity for you to actually put money in your pocket. Because at the end of the day, you still have to pay expenses. This, when this guy's talking about, I made $800, that's $800. And then he has to subtract his gas and blah, blah, blah. So he might only pull 600 in a week. But that's the things that you have to take into consideration when you are dealing with these, I'll call them business owners, because that's what they are. They are business owners. So I would encourage everybody, whenever you use the service, you tip them well, because they deserve it.
All right. Thank you, Marquise. Anybody else?
Well, I did think that it was interesting how he talked about, that there were down times where he made $200 to $300. And I know this as well from talking to clients who are, Door Dashers and are working for the food delivery. There are certain times a day, there's certain days of the week where it's not even beneficial to work. Lunchtime and dinner are amazing. Brunch on the weekends. But the piece that I noticed that towards the end of his article was that he doesn't really know the benefits of being an entrepreneur, being his own business owner, because he was concerned about what was going to happen at tax time. So my deal is if you are a ride share, a food delivery, you need to keep in mind there are certain things you'll be able to write off. You can depreciate your car, which is the biggest. Talk to your accountant about how to depreciate your vehicle. You can deduct all the cost of PPE equipment, out the cleaning for the exterior, cleaning for the interior, anything you use. You might have water and snacks in there for your riders. If you're a ride share, all of that is tax deductible. You have a choice of either using your mileage or your deducting of your car. Now, it just depends on how much you pay for your car and whether or not that's worth it to you. But the other things, don't forget, you can deduct your phone bill. Maybe it's 50% of your phone use. When you're at home, you're on your Wi-Fi trying to see if you can pick up an order, deduct your Wi-Fi. You can also deduct if you have a home office, you can go in and deduct if you own your home, you can say, hey, square footage, this is what I pay in mortgage. This is what I pay for utilities. This is what I pay for my alarm system, my housekeeper, all of these things. If you are in an apartment, you can still deduct based on the average square footage. The maximum you can deduct is up to $1,500 based on an equation, and you can still deduct all those things. What if you bought a new computer, tablet, phone? So as a business owner, all of these things are available to you.
Wow, look, just give it up right there. That right there is a class on deductions for ride sharing, and that was free. You know, most companies won't give that kind of information out like we're giving out, and that's thank you to Miss Prosperity Financial Services herself. If you want more information, there's her website. But yeah, that's great information. Thank you so much, and I'm sure they want more information. They'll reach out to you. Tanya, did you have anything you want to do? Share on the rest of the story?
Just that, you know, what she just said about him being it's different from being an employee and then a business owner, and that's what they consider them as. So there's no exact hours, so you're flexible of picking the hours. I did notice there's a lot of different places that are doing that now. Instead of having people sign up as employees, they have them like independent business associates or owners. Due to the whole COVID-19, some companies have been switching over to that, actual companies, which makes it, you know, I guess the taxes and like she was saying a little bit different, where you can write off stuff versus being an employee where, you know, that stuff isn't available to you. So
yeah. But
And if I can,
Go ahead.
it sounds great. It sounds good. It's a beautiful thing to say. It sounds good. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't really know what you're talking about, she knows what she's talking about. So it sounds good. When the person that's the business owner goes and tries to do all of that, what you're trying to do, no, it doesn't sound good, because that is a CPA telling you exactly what you can do with your stuff. We are trying to use our whole phone bill because we have a business. We going to use our whole car note because we got a business. Now, if you drive halfway around the world and you only Uber or DoorDash 2 days out the week, you're lying. That is not what you can do. So we need to hear more of that. The only way that works is if you have all your receipts. So that says that the people that stop at the toll booth and say, oh, can I have a receipt? 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 That's what you need. You need your receipts. Because, you can't do that at the end if you ain't got no receipt. It ain't nothing that you can pull that you can't pull that off at the end when tax come. Because that sounds real good. But if you don't know that, excuse me, can I have a receipt for that? Thank you. You need all your receipts.
That's right. Look at Adrian. That is so true.
That's good information.
You can pay it off if you want to, but you better show proof that this is what you do in your house. You better show it off, because you can't pay off your electric bill if you doing your work in your house. Because for real, if you're Ubering and you're door dashing, you ain't working in the crib. You're working in the house. So you better be careful. Pay your phone bill and not your cable bill. Because one thing they will get you on is 1099. And that's what they call it, Tanya, 1099s. Because they make you an independent contractor, so that therefore when you do mess up,
You know what? You know what,
you.
Adrian? You know what,
So-
Adrian? You remind me of you know how you have a mama that just loves you, she's so sweet, and then you got that one aunt that don't let you get away with nothing. You that
Yes.
aunt right there, boy. You be bringing it. Boy, you
Listen,
better
but
get them receipts.
because I have heard that and I have actually literally tried that. And when you get there, it sounds good. But if you don't have that 2-3 boxes of all of those receipts, it don't add up.
It's true.
And it's got to add up to benefit you. Like, so it sounds great. But
protect
DoorDash,
yourself, right? Protect yourself, get the receipts.
And when I tell you that you have to protect yourself, because that's what the man, like the way I read the article, he's telling you exactly what it is. But that's what happened. You get stuck in a hard place because you're in a hard place. So you believe that now you're gonna go make this money. You need to make the money because you're stuck in a hard place. You know? So now when you get your tax, that thing for the 1099, because you know every dollar that you made is on there. So somebody is keeping a track of all your money.
All right.
Yes,
We're
that's
going
where the Tanya comes in.
to Tanya. We're going to give Tanya a chance now, Adrian. Let's give Tanya a chance to weigh on the issue. What's going on, Tanya?
I said that's where the CPA comes in. That's where Prosperity Financial Services comes in to help. If you're a business owner, just like, you know, we all have our own businesses, we're going to make sure that we're going to be keeping good records of our financial, you know, how our job, you know, how our business is running. So that's where you're talking about where the receipts come in and making sure you have all that stuff documented, because there's going to be a time, you know, IRS might audit you or whatever have you. You need to know how much money you got coming in, how much money going out, you know, all that stuff. And that's where our Prosperity Financial Services comes in.
We're going to have to get some sponsorship dollars from her as much as we're talking about it tonight. But let's move. Oh, you got something else?
Let me add, yes. One of the things that the article, and thank you, Adrian and Tanya, I appreciate it. Adrian kept pointing to me. I appreciate it. One of the things the article only touched on a little bit is that one of the reasons why you may see a lot more independent operators is because it takes down the payroll costs and the tax costs for the employer. So if you are not an employee, it's on average about 30% of your pay to give you insurance, to pay their portion of your taxes, to pay the unemployment. They have to pay that workers' comp. So they don't want to have to pay your salary plus 30%. So that's why you see, especially during the virus, people tried to retain their employees because they wanted PPP money, but others flipped them over to independent because they couldn't afford to keep them and pay all their, you know, taxes and benefits. So he was definitely saying, I don't have health insurance. I don't know what's going to happen when I retire. Those are the insecurities that come from owning your own business.
All right, so let's go from that to the richest person in the U.S. Telly, what do you got on that?
So I actually have a lot of information on that. It was very interesting to read that from March 2020 to March 2021, the number of rich people grew. So for billionaires, it increased by more than 44.6%. And over 40 Americans became billionaires. So during the pandemic. So it seems as though it was beneficial for a number.
So we need to get the address and phone numbers to every one of those people. So we can ask them how they did that and how can we do it
I agree. Yes. And for so many in the US, they probably don't know that they live in the same state as a number of billionaires. So the richest person is Jeff Bezos, which is the foremost CEO of Amazon. He is worth $185 billion, and that's actually 0.864 of the US GDP just from his salary.
Wow.
And he also resides in Washington State. Next on the list is Elon Musk, which they said based on the market, he tends to fluctuate between Jeff Bezos and him as far as who's the richest. So right now, Elon Musk is said to have $171 billion, And he resides in Austin, Texas. And the third on the list is Mark Zuckerberg. He's in California with 113 billion. And the interesting fact is most of his wealth comes from the company, but he only has 13% stake, which I thought is very interesting. So very, very interesting.
All right, so okay, so I'm not gonna get set off early. I'm gonna let y'all. Let's talk about it, Congress. Let's talk about it a little bit. So that's the richest people in America. Is there any shock that people got rich during the pandemic? Is that a shock to anybody?
No.
It isn't. It isn't a shock.
It is a shock.
All right, Kevin.
Why
What you
it's
got?
a shock?
At all. No
It's
shock.
a
Matter of fact, our
Because
wonderful leader,
you
Antonio T. Smith.
You would have never known. People was making
Yeah,
money.
no shock, guys.
People were dying. They had us looking at the people dying. They was watching the numbers go up of the dying. We wasn't even
Adrian,
thinking about
Adrian.
money.
Adrian, stop
I'm-
cutting the line.
I'm
Kevin was
right.
talking. Kevin was talking.
Mute myself.
All right, go ahead, Kevin.
No problem. Yeah, guys. There's no surprise there because Antonio T. Smith has been teaching that, and he's actually doing that. And he actually mentioned that his business went up during the last year and continues to go up even as we speak. So you got to understand that people that know how to make money will continue to make money until the planet says stop, basically. So it's no surprise because they're in position. They're also in what I call the zone on creating stuff. And Brother Stephen, I know you know about this. We love to think. They're always thinking about new ways of idea. Not so much about the money, it's the ideas. How to get to Mars, how to get to the moon, how to put pizza on the moon and make it hot when it gets back here, that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just trying to figure out how to make money so I can go to the bank. I just need to go to the bank. I don't need to go to the moon. If I can just get to the bank and get some money out, I'll be happy.
Absolutely. So it's all about mindset, guys. That's what it is. That's what we're here for today. Exit is about mindset. ATS is about mindset. Change the mindset. You'll change the world, guys. No doubt.
Come on. That's all right. All right. So the billionaires that are out here, did you say, Telly, unmute yourself. So did you say how many new millionaires were made or billionaires? I didn't catch that.
So it was 43 Americans that were made billionaires from March 2020 to
43 new billionaires.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Now, seriously, now, Congress, is that a shock to anybody? Because I'm shocked. If she had said like 3 or 4 billionaires, but 43 billionaires, I would like to know who their companies are, what lanes, what categories and verticals they're in. Because that actually, middle class, we want to inform you on something. Those are, like we've been saying, indicators. They set trends, right? So if we're in a pandemic and those industries see a bump, then you know that if something like this comes again, that trend is that those same industries are going to be on the rise again. So that can help you know which stocks to buy. It can also help you know which companies to look out for in terms of growth too. So, but anyway, so these are the kind of things that we're seeing and starting to understand about how this system works. You would think that in this kind of state, not only are people being hurt, but you would think companies would be hurt at the same time, but no, it's not the case. So,
it's very interesting because in times of distress, monetary distress and economic downturn, which is what we experienced rather quickly in 2020, that is when entrepreneurship grows. Okay. So people find ways to make money. If they don't have jobs, they become creative. And so I looked it up to see what were some of the best business ideas in 2020 that kind of came out of our shutdown. And the number one best was to have a profitable blog. Okay. People then increased online courses and coaching. They started e-commerce business. So that's Etsy and all of the other ones. People started their podcasting. They started selling custom printed products, graphic design, web development, and becoming an influencer. So all of us can say we've done some part of that during COVID. If
it's
you really
true.
thought about your business.
Yeah, that's good insight. I mean, I myself have started a podcast and graphic design company and all that. So yeah, that's a really good point. All right, so let's move this story over to Biden, President Biden. Now, Tanya, I hear he wants to shut something down. What is he trying to shut down? Tanya.
She might be frozen.
There we go. All right, here we go. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Yes, there we go. You got it.
I don't know what was going on there. He's trying to shut down the credit bureaus, all three of them, and turn it over to like a consumer financial protection bureau.
Oh, I'm scared of that.
Yeah, he's trying to shut it all down. They have the reasons for doing it, saying that the bureaus that they have, the scores that they have is not working, as far as they all have their different scoring systems. And then when people try to go apply for, cars or houses and stuff, they can get, not approved because each, bureau doesn't have the same scoring system, which could cause you to be declined because of the score that you have. So he's saying if we put it all under this one protection bureau, that it'll be just one scoring system that'll make it easier for people to get approved for, houses and different things, that we need to live. It says it will cut down on the racial equality. Amongst us, and also relieve this consumer, this whole COVID-19 thing that we have been going through. It'll kind of relieve some of the pressure, people trying to get approved for stuff. It'll relieve some of that anxiety of not being approved. So,
all right. So I want to take this to Jerome. Jerome, talk to us for a second. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the principle of what he's trying to do. I think the problem with that is you've got these agencies out there that have already been established, that are already making money, that are already supposedly helping people. Unfortunately, there's a whole lot more behind the scenes that needs to be addressed. And just putting it under one umbrella, I don't think it's going to change it. It's got to be more equitable for everybody across the board. So I like the principle, but I think the ability to apply that's going to be hard because, for example, the two of them, I know for a fact in the past, have had security breaches where folks have broken in and stolen your information. And they end up saying, well, we're going to cover you for a year or we'll cover you for 24 months. Well, I don't know if they got my stuff or not, okay? And so I don't understand, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't understand reports and what they mean. And I know that student loans, you can't write them off. You got to pay them. I know that.
Yeah.
It's like, what can I do and what can I do? I'm not that smart. I'm stuck in the middle class. So
hey, I'm an average bear myself. So I thank God for my sister. She helped me out with all that kind of stuff. But Kevin,
pretty smart.
Kevin, so what are your thoughts on setting up this one agency to handle that for all Americans?
Yeah, I think that's not a good idea, only because you need a little bit diversity in that area. Because if you have one score, obviously everybody's not going to fall into that one area. I think it should be at least diverse enough where it's at least 2 to 3 different areas to give you a better feel for what area you need to improve on. So you get a different take on depending on whether it's housing, your car. It could be buying some sneakers, ladies and gentlemen. All that's going to be rolling up in there. So I think it needs to have a little more diversity in that to give you a better feel for it. But I think we need people like Saa'dia, though. You need to have her on the payroll, guys, in order to make sure you sort that out and position yourself in the right area. So we need that diversity. I think we need that diversity because everything's going to be a little different for everybody at the different levels of class.
All right, if you just now tuning in, we are the People's Congress, and we're discussing issues that impact the middle class. I'm going to give my take on it, and then we're going to go to Saa'dia for probably a more sound response. So this is my take on that. Anytime you have a government saying that they're going to pull everything under one umbrella that they will control, that scares me. It scares me for a couple of reasons. Number one, capitalism is based on the freedom of our market to have competition. Competition drives rates and prices. It also, when it comes to credit, gives us a better picture of who we really are from different companies because they each have their own way of reporting. So when one says you look horrible, the other one says you look better, it kind of balances out. But if you have one who just says, you know what, we don't like Stephen because he's a Christian, or we don't like Stephen because he didn't pay his taxes. So we're going to put in here an algorithm that nobody will know, and then his credit's going to start dropping. It makes me think about China, because China has a system right now where their people are getting merits or demerits based on how they are as a citizen, if they litter, if they break any crimes, if they don't pay their taxes, or they're late for work. I mean, they get demoted. And if you go under the line, you don't even get to travel outside of the country. You can't fly. You can't take a train. That seems to me to be one of those things that if it's put in place, it'll be just like the IRS. The IRS needs to be audited. Okay. So if the IRS don't have their stuff together, how do you think creating an agency that helps people with their credit, how are they going to be any different than having the IRS be the end all be all when it comes to taxes? Now they're going to be telling everybody who's creditworthy and who's not. So I'm just a little worried about that, a little skeptical. Of course you should be, because we're Americans. That's what we do. All right. So let's talk to Saa'dia, who they're probably going to draft to be the CEO of this new branch of the government anyway. So what is your thoughts?
So I think it's good to understand from the article that they're looking to create a platform on which all three would reside. So it's not necessarily having one reporting agency. They would still exist.
Excuse me. You couldn't have said that earlier before I just ran it for the last 2 minutes?
I kept trying to talk, but you said you'd go first.
Oh, okay. You were just being, okay, I honored that.
Yes. And so by having that platform, they would better be able to monitor these credit agencies for their inequalities that we are seeing. And the second part of that, it is virtually, impossible unless you learn a system to get something that's incorrect removed permanently from your credit report. Because as soon as you question it and they have 90 days to respond, they'll remove it. But if they post it again, it's back on your credit report. It doesn't stop them from reposting it, re-reporting it. Now, some of the challenges, there are some challenges that, to having a platform like this, and that would be, it would be subject to volatility. Right now, you do
stop. Back the bus up.
It is subject to
we just
changes.
Hit a big word speed bump. All right. So what is that word? Let's bring it down so the middle class we can comprehend. What's that? What are you talking about?
So it's subject to change.
Oh, by the way, I'm gonna jump to Adrian right after this because I think we need to hear from Adrian.
Okay. It's subject to changes. One company could change their criteria, change how they are rating people. We all found out that you used to be able to have a good credit rating with this company and maybe a poor paying history with this company, and it didn't affect the other one's interest rate. Then they started doing interest rate smoothing. So if you are bad with one, they make it so your rate rises with the rest of them. We've already seen that in our generation. And so what this is looking to do, I don't know if it'll work, if it'll ever get off the ground, but it's trying to give Americans a fighting chance. But I think it's an uphill battle. I'm not sure that this is going to happen.
All right, Adrian, tell the people the truth. How you feel about credit, people checking your credit?
All right, now.
They having conversations. They're having conversations about people that have credit, that are people that have credit. But people don't really care about what you're talking about. So all of that is a moot point. Nobody cares. The people are trying to make it. At the end of the day, what Joe Biden is trying to do is trying to make people become people so that we can use people for the economy. Because he needs people to act like people so that they can buy into the economy. The people don't want to be people. So now he's deciding that he's going to make these laws so that they can be people. And then he's really saying that because you're not people, we know that you're not people, but we're going to try to set it up so that your kids can become people because you don't know how to be people.
Well, keep in mind too, Adrian,
that they told us. No, because that's what's really going on. I heard what you said, and I couldn't hear.
No, it's not about me. It's not about me.
No, Biden, are you reporting it? That's all I'm saying. I was listening to your reporting because I was trying to see. Okay, Adrian, I'm sitting here. We're representing the middle class, and then I'm thinking, I don't want to hear this shit.
All right, so we went to Adrian. Let's get Marquis to chime in on this. Marquis, let's balance this story out a bit. What I see you finished eating, so I wanted to come to you now.
Well, You know, I had to take some medicine right there. So
I got you. I saw your
yeah.
face when it hit you. It didn't hit you
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it was rough. Well, I'm like you. I don't like any merger, any combination, or anything like that when it comes to government, because I don't trust government. You're not supposed to trust government. And the problem that we have is that we don't have enough people who will put the government in check, because every time when somebody does put the government in check, the government checks them.
Come on.
Whether they'll pay them off or they'll take them out. But you didn't hear that from me because I don't want to be the next one.
He's gonna have a public service announcement.
That's for real.
He
All right.
He has a disclaimer.
Like
That's
that.
real.
Like that. All right. Well, look.
So if I could wrap
The middle class. Did Kevin put his glasses on? You know we having fun here. Look,
if I could wrap it up, Stephen, by saying
I was about to wrap it up myself. Thank you.
I had a
So the way I want to wrap this up is I want to go ahead and pass it over to Saa'dia. There you go. Great.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I was going to simply say that when it comes to credit, the wealthy, they don't care about the credit. They don't need credit.
They don't need credit, right?
The poor, they don't care about credit because they don't need it. They don't have it. They don't have any money. It's the middle class that cares about their credit. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be all these consumer bureaus taking advantage of the middle class, charging them money to say, hey, I can work this out for you. Because they know middle class want to own homes or buy cars.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go out on the internet and put in financial counseling, you would not be surprised to see the thousands of people willing to help you out for a cost. Okay. And there are so many coaches that are coming out. If you pay me $29.99 a month, I'll help you clean your credit up.
Yeah.
Or the agency saying, I'll negotiate on your behalf, but they do it without the permission of the credit card holders. So they count you as late, report you as late, and charge you interest. Okay. So
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Because I'm filling up here. I just want to know, what is it that the person is doing but making the phone call? Is this to help you not make your phone call?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
the credit reporting
Because all you have to
agency,
do is make the phone call. Right?
Yeah.
they make people.
You say
Go ahead.
call it and then deny. And you say call it and then
I
dispute.
think there's some paperwork they got to fill out too. What'd you say, Saa'dia?
Yeah, so it's kind of a little bit of a scam because what they do is they tell you, I've negotiated with your creditors. You might have 10 creditors. What they're doing is taking your one payment, taking their cut, and mailing $20 to the other creditors saying, I've negotiated on your behalf. The creditors never agreed with it. So that's my whole point.
Wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Who's doing that?
So how they getting away with
People
that?
doing that?
Oh well, I mean,
Because
they're
people
operating on
sign
different
agreements.
credit, and the credit, your different creditors are getting something from it.
right.
Even if you just send $1 a month to your creditors, they're happier because you're not sending them nothing per month. But
And they
if
can
they're sending
legally
bigger
do
chunks, it does help. And they're
They
operating
can-
on
Now
your
back to the
behalf.
middle class.
They
That
can
was the middle
legally
class
do it
unit that
because you
did.
sign off telling them they can do it because you
Right.
think they're helping you.
But Steve,
You know, to be
that was
honest
a
with you,
good
some people,
moment. You just
some
told somebody something. You just told a lot of people something because there is a point in credit where it's like, okay, if you have it to pay your bill, then you pay your bill. If you don't have it to pay your bill, then you can't pay your bill. But there's a moment in there where you might not have all that you have to pay your bill. The conscious effort is that you make a conscious effort to make a payment.
Right.
So in order to keep payments coming, you can make a payment of $1 and they will not be able to tell you that you are not making payments. They're called voluntary payments. The thing is, the word is voluntary. There's a voluntary payment and then there's an involuntary payment. If you make a voluntary payment, then they can't touch you because you are voluntarily giving what it is. Now, if you run into a financial hard set and you can't pay your $19.99 or the $29.99 and you can pay $1, send the $1 in, and guess what? They really will not be able to touch you. Unfortunately, middle class, there's a difference between I don't have the money and I want to spend this $1 because I want to try to pay my bill, or being honest with yourself and knowing daggone well you ain't paying.
all right. I mean, that's the truth. And middle class, we're not going to soft shoe this issue. That is the truth. I've done it myself. not even pay my creditors, and I'm still going out to eat fast food. I'm going out watching movies, spending
Getting our
money on stuff
nails
that I want
done,
to
our
do.
hair done.
Yeah, so if you're going to come out of debt, you have to come out of debt mentality. And that's what we're talking about here in the middle class, is that the wealth that you're spending on yourself to just please yourself, make you feel good, is taken away from your future and causing you to be subject to the very system that you're in. It's holding you down. So what we want to do is shift our thinking, and part of that is for you to go to Mexico. It's for you to learn through ATS what it means to handle your finances, take the courses you need, sit your family down with you, and take the courses you need to be empowered. Make sure you do this. Why? Because for a very small amount of money, you can have your entire family rise in their understanding and set a legacy for your future that you wouldn't have if you just kept wasting your money on stuff that don't even make you happy. You're just doing it.
Right.
You're just doing it. I once knew a lady, I
Temporary.
ain't gonna say who she is, but I once knew a lady who wanted to get her hair braided. And she went and got her hair braided. It cost $180 for her to get her hair braided. Guess how long it lasted? 2 weeks. Do you know why? Because it got heavy on her big head, on her head. And she decided to cut the braids off.
Take it right off. Did you?
Lighter, and she ruined that whole head, $180 for something she didn't
talking about me?
No.
Is you talking about me?
No, I am not.
Is you talking about me? That's what I want to know.
Well, you know what they say, if the shoe fit, honey. If the shoe fit, I am talking about it.
Wear the stiletto. Wear the stiletto, Adrian.
This is the point. When it comes to minority groups, we have been famous for shifting money, our wealth, into fun, into entertainment, into distractions, and not investing it into assets that's bringing us money. We have to figure out how to shift, and this is the time to shift. And look, I'm gonna tell you a little story. A man once told me that, and he got a pretty big boat. He says, "Look, I'm on this lake, and I'm traveling across this lake. If you want to get across the lake, hook your boat to my boat. We're gonna get there together." All we're asking you to do is the same thing. Here at the People's Congress, we're saying, look, we are all elevating our thinking every day, every week. As a matter of fact, with ATS, we have a call every morning at 9 o'clock, Monday through Friday. You need to get on the call so you can hear the same stuff we're hearing. Make sure we're going to put it in show notes so you can. But this is the point. We're doing this right now. We're just asking you, we're begging you, stop doing what you're doing and start doing what you need to do. And the only way you're going to learn what you need to do is to hook up with people like us. We're regular middle class people. Everybody but Saa'dia is middle class. So everybody else is middle class, and we're trying to get elevated together. All right. So we want you to be empowered. We want your family to be inspired. And we're going to help you get there. That's what we're here for. You guys elected us as your Congress. We
need to stop being in denial. We tell people, well, we didn't know and no one told us. Well, if we can Google to find out where the restaurant is, we can Google to find out about what we need to do better with our credit, with our money. There's so many people who have an excuse for why they continue to do wrong. And the problem is, it's just an excuse. It's a weakness that you have, and you're not willing to change it. And that's the truth about a lot of things about human nature.
It's true. And you know what? You're not in Egypt. So stop acting like you're in denial. Let's go. Here we go.
There you go. There you go. All right. All right.
All right. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on. All right.
Hey, before we move on I just got to put this out there, ladies and gentlemen. You have the power.
Okay, somebody's got some energy tonight. Okay, let's go to Adrian. Mark Cuban believes Doge will find its level. What's happening with that?
Let me see. Wait a minute. First and foremost, when y'all still talking about rich people, right? It's like it's only about 6 of them, and then it's just like they swapping through their money. And I'm realizing just what Saa'dia said. They go from in and out. They swapping back and forth. So Mark Cuban, he been in the news a lot lately. Y'all do understand this. As I was reading the one, I seen another thing. I said, well, dang, Mark, what is he doing? Playing with people's money and talking this crypto stuff. Okay, can y'all see me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm making sure because I don't know. I'm going to just see what it says.
We see you struggling over there, sister, but you're doing good.
Do you see me? Okay, because technology says to me, just stop. And then I would go, okay, tech, I know how to do it. I pick up my old phone and make a phone call.
Okay, no, you got it. We can hear you. You're good.
Okay, good. So Mark Cuban in his Dogecoin, as we first know now to say Dogecoin, because I might not have any money, but I know that I can say Dogecoin and be in the right
Doge.
building with
Pinky
the
up
right
on that.
conversation. Marquis told us that last week. The
Okay.
Dogecoin. So
Doge.
he's doing something with the Dogecoin, and he finds this level. He says that it's going to become supply and demand. So we're like, what? So the cryptocurrency, we all know about cryptocurrency, and when it's initially created, it was supposed to just be something that I think they just wanted to play around with, but it now has hit this all-time high, and now it says it surpasses the 30-cent mark. Now, after I read the article, what I'm gonna need is Saa'dia to interpret the article. Okay, that's what
All
we'll
right.
do, and then everybody can help us out with it. All right, so it says surpassing the 30-cent mark. That was attributed to the tweet that he sent the other day about Tesla and Elon Musk in support of the Dogecoin. Now, this all-time high was the latest of the series over the past few days. They say as of Saturday, Dogecoin is like the 8th most valuable cryptocurrency in terms of market capitalization. Then it says that currently over $39 billion is what they're talking about. So social media has no means been able to like stop it. No, I want to say that the way they say it is by social media, no means has any way to help this Dogecoin rise. Of course, because the way that I can communicate with you now is so much easier. But what's going to happen with the Dogecoin? Someone's going to have to say, no, we transferring this money too fast. We're flipping this money too fast. We're hearing that people are getting rich. And then like the owners of the Dallas Mavericks are just like, okay, we're going to do this. Back in March, he revealed that the whole team was accepting Dogecoins for tickets. Like if they weren't, you wouldn't have to buy money. You didn't have to buy your ticket with the money. You could use Dogecoin. So it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. So really this becomes a new surge in pricing. So then it says that the Mavericks, they said they put it in for 24 hours. And in 24 hours, they set a record for the merchandise sales in the Dogecoin. So now they took Dogecoin from just regular trading and marketing to actually being able to say, this is what I want to make my payment with. So imagine that. And then it says that the sales have gone up by 550%.
Okay. Well, look.
I didn't even know that was a percentage. Y'all know.
Well, you know what?
550% over a last month.
Well, look, check this out. At ATS, we knew about Dogecoins like 3-4 months ago. We had the inside scoop of that 3-4 months ago. So this is what we're talking about, getting connected to a community that already has the pulse of so many different things. And shout out to Antonio T. Smith Jr. for giving us that insight. That's the type of leadership he's given us. But look, you guys need to get connected because things like this are going to happen. Right now is Dogecoin. Next month it might be something different. But you got to get connected to the sources. All right, let's talk about it, Congress. Dogecoins. Marquise, I see your mouth is full again. I won't call on you. Let's Dogecoins. Who has some insight on this? You got some, Marquise?
Actually, I find it interesting that a billionaire kind of guy would leverage that, I guess could be, when you allow people to use this platform to purchase tickets or whatever in your venue. That's an automatic attention getter, and people will automatically flood that. And once it becomes noticed, then you capitalize off of it, then the price goes up.
I want to understand the rate of exchange. If the ticket costs $50, how much do I have to give in Dogecoin to get that same ticket? That's how I want to see what that conversion is. Saa'dia, you got something?
So one thing I found very interesting about what's been happening with the popularity of the Dogecoin is that not only is it being used and leveraged for notoriety, for I'm being famous because what I've done is said you can come to my site and purchase all of my memorabilia, all of my swag with the coin. Not only did, as Marquis say, did he advertise his company the Dogecoin, all his fan base, and it went up 550%. But the interesting thing is that when Elon Musk made his tweet about the Dogecoin, it caused an outage on Robinhood. Okay. Their crypto exchange was down for 2 hours and no one could do anything. Okay. So then the platform restricted the crypto trading. Okay. And now the Dogecoin is rallying. And so what they mean by it will find its level, it's
It's like
like
water.
water.
You're exactly right.
Okay. So it's like how cement is. They pour it and it finds an equal place where all of it is equal. It finds its level. And so it's by supply and demand. And the way supply and demand works in economics, the more people who want it happens. Supply goes up, price goes down. Okay. Supply becomes less lean, it becomes lean, price
Scarcity. Yeah.
goes up.
Yeah.
So in looking at that, that's what's happening. So right now, people want it. It's a little buzz around it, but he says it's going to find its level. It's going to go up, it's come down, and level off.
Absolutely.
All right. So middle class. Let's look at.
What that mean? We got to go get it now. Then is that what
That's
you're
what I was
trying
just
to
about to say.
say?
Middle class. This is
Translate,
what you have to. Middle class. This
Go
is what
get
you
it.
have to get.
We can't tell you to go do it. We can only tell you what we would do.
Middle class. What you have to consider now is you have to learn how to work with cryptocurrency. Now we have a course through ATS that can teach you that. You and your family. What is cryptocurrency? Don't just get out there buying stuff. Don't just download these apps and start transferring money from your bank account because everybody else is doing it. You need to understand what you're getting into before you get into it. You got to be empowered and educated, and then you can be inspired to do better for your family. So ATS definitely has a course available to help you do just that. Does anybody else have any final thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I wanted to mention real quick, you hit it right on the head, Brother Stephen, about the education. Please get educated first. Get that education. Also, too, cryptocurrency has hundreds of different types of cryptocurrency. Ladies and gentlemen, we can send you that website if you'd like to check it out, but there's hundreds of different style. In addition to that, on the innovation side, I anticipate even all the millionaires and the billionaires, they're going to have their own crypto coin one day. And for folks who got some money, they're going to have their own coin and move it through their fan base. So it's going to be exciting, guys. It's going to be exciting.
They're going to mine their own coin. Isn't that what it's called?
That's what they're doing. They're going to
Yep.
do.
Look, maybe get to the place where they take the cryptocurrency and you can use your crypto coins to pay off your student loans. What do you say about that, Saa'dia? What should they pay off? Should they pay the student loans off with the cryptocurrency?
What they know, you don't want to pull your gains out for your cryptocurrency because it's going to be taxed. So
Okay.
you want to hold on to it, and then when you finally sell, purchase something else.
So should you
Okay.
pay off your student loan debt by refinancing your mortgage then?
Well, that is an option. We have an article that talks about that.
Okay.
We have an article tonight that talks about what will happen if you pay, use your mortgage to pay off your student loan. Is it something you want to do? Well, the problem with that, there's several issues with the student loan, but no, you do not want to refinance your home and pay off your student loan. Okay, because paying off your student loan, yes, is tax deductible. But two, what happens now? You're leveraging your home, your asset, your equity that can, sustain you in retirement, that can help pay your bills and buy you food. When you sell your home, you've just made it go all the way up by using the money to pay off your school loan. I don't think that that's logical. I don't think that that's a good there's not a good business sense in doing that. I would definitely, ask everyone to talk to a banker, that, someone who has their best interest at heart, a CPA, to find out a better way to handle that. Because with the student loans right now, we haven't paid student loans in over a year because they deferred them. And they're continuing now to defer them through the end of the year. So January 1, people need to be ready to start paying again for their student loans. But people who cannot, they can get a forbearance, they can get a deferment. So it's either based on your income or your family size, your ability to pay. You can negotiate what they call these lower payments over a period of time. They gradually rise. And if you do that long enough, Biden just might pass where you won't have to pay 50,000 of it. But that's a whole nother altar call. He's real skeptical on it right now, but there are other options available.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have anything on this story before we move on? Any other closing thoughts?
I do have a thought. The reason why it just doesn't make sense to me is because people are really struggling. People are really struggling. And like you just said, Saa'dia, for the last year, they have told us that they were going to get rid of student loans. They've been telling you that they are going to make it a way that you don't have to pay for this debt. Now, all of a sudden, there's a remedy where, you should put this, we're giving you more money now. Now you should go ahead and use what we're giving you to pay off something that really you ain't going to pay off anyway. And like you just said, if you wait long enough, they're going to pay it off anyway.
That's our hope as Americans, right?
And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Middle class, we need to stop that, because if you're going to school to get your education, you went and got your education so that you know that you're not going to be dumb all your life. It didn't say that you were going to go get this job that you got the degree in, but it just said that you had enough smarts to know that you were going to do something for the rest of your life. So when now you have this debt, figure out what you're going to do with the debt. If you're going to be a student for the rest of your life, then you don't have to pay your debt. But then you have to become a student for the rest of your life.
And when you die, your estate will have to pay your bills.
Listen, she's telling you from the CPA. I'm telling you from Philadelphia. And I'm telling you that if you go to people and you tell the people that you got a situation that you can't pay your bill, they're going to work it out. Don't you refinance something so that they can get worked out somewhere else. I'm just telling you, because you refinance something that you got, and then you end up losing your house. And that was wrong with the people now.
Yes.
The family paid for the house, and then the kids want to refinance the house because they think they're going to pay their loan. Then the minute that they miss that payment, they done lost the house. Off of a bill that right? No, don't be refinancing your bill off of something that you know you ain't going to pay no way. You gonna refinance your house, you better refinance your house because you need to. Not because you're paying the government some money that you don't really need to pay. You better go ahead and cut that out, because, and you know what's good? You know what's good, Saa'dia? I'm glad you're here, because I don't want to tell nobody nothing wrong. But I'm gonna tell you, be honest with yourself, because you be struggling.
Yes.
See, I used to call people out their place and tell them that they owe for their student loan debt. Yes. Now, the student loan debt is the only debt in the world that you really do have to pay. And the reason why I say that is because they will go and take your money if they want your money. But right now in the world that we living in, they ain't taking your money. So don't get stupid because they done gave you an option and go run and do something dumb because you just want to be a part of doing something right now, because the last thing you need to be worried about is paying off your student loan debt.
All right, now y'all know how Adrian Phillips. Y'all watch this show, any one of our episodes, you know how
she put her hand up and went to God.
Let's make sure that we don't set her off about that anymore. All right, Kevin, what's your next story? What do you got?
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I guess real quickly, the results are in, ladies and gentlemen. There are some states that you may not want to retire in. I tell you, one thing I wanted to do, I didn't want to bash the state, any of the 50 states or so. I wanted to really talk about how you plan well. So we're not here to bash the states. Please get that right. We're here to talk about good planning. If you want to move to any state, because you have the right to move to any state you wanted to, ladies and gentlemen. So we just want to talk about that real quickly. But every year, multiple studies, and that's the problem, that multiple studies. We got so many different people, right? You're going to get different opinions from different areas. That's why I don't even want to talk about the negative side of it. So a lot of people do that on a regular basis. Obviously, what they do, they look at the schools, right? They look at the terrain, they look at the weather, they look at the taxes, they look at the policing, everything. Y'all know about that already. So what's important here is that we want you to plan well. That's the key I want you to get. If you're going to move to any state, do your homework. That's all I want to say about that, because there's so much out there. And of course, we'll be glad to send you the link for the details, but we want you just to plan well. If you're going to move, I'm in the state of Georgia. So if you want to move to the state of Georgia, do your homework. Find out what's going on in the housing, right? What's going on in the rental side. Obviously, what's going on even in the politics. Hey, y'all better pay attention. Politics, right? So basically, we want you to have a strong checklist really before you move. Understand the laws of moving. How about the homes that are selling, homes that are not selling, neighborhoods, areas you want to talk about, the homeowners association fees, the sewage. Are they having problems in this area? Now, one that most people don't think about, guys, is this one. Check the police records for the area, for the zip code. I don't want to move my family and if you're having an ambulance coming every 5 seconds in the neighborhood. So you got to just know that. And, you want to know what's the police records in those areas. You want to know if there's any homicides, things like that, just basic information. But the goal here, guys, is just to do your pre-planning before you make that major move to any state.
Now, if you hear ambulance every 5 seconds in your neighborhood, you better be living by a hospital, because if you're not, you're going to be in one, because that's ridiculous. All right, people, now let's ask the question. You guys, when y'all moved into new areas, did you actually check anything in the new area that you went to? Did anybody do that? Marquis, what do you got?
I did. As a matter of fact, outside of weather, the next thing you want to check is crime. I mean, and those are back and forth. What I'd like to add, though, is that you can download certain apps that will give you an instant notification when there's something going on within a space around a certain neighborhood, like within a certain miles of a zip code or something to that effect. Every time something happens, you'll get an alert. So you can do that now wherever you are, and to see what's happening around town. It's amazing. My grandfather used to sit and listen to the police scanner, and I used to sit right there with them, and I'm like, wow, that's actually going on. And then you'll hear it in the cop going by the house. You'll hear that stuff. So if you want to do some recon on an area that you are looking to go into, download those apps. And I agree with Kevin. I mean, get in the know with everything. I mean, we have technology now. I can sit here and listen to something going on in China, just about, but that's live. And we didn't have that when I was coming up. Now it's at your fingertips. So there's no excuse not to be knowledgeable about where you're going to go.
So when you talk about moving, you also got to look at, when you have a real estate agent, you're paying them, not just for the house, but for the community. So they have data to tell you everything from crime stats to, are there any child molesters in the area, any murders? They can pull everything from, flood plains, and you have to make sure that they're doing a comprehensive evaluation of not just the home, the land your home is bought on, but the area that you're in. That's their job. But most of them don't do that kind of job.
Steven,
I give you all that information.
I can tell you, when I was a real estate agent, that's what I wanted to do anyway. And because I understood, when you move into an area, you want to make sure that it's tight and right. And if you're one of these folks who don't mind a little gunfire in the background, I mean, that's going to be to your benefit as well. I mean, I have a house right now to where there are folks running up and down the street, especially in the summertime. Somebody got chased around with a gun, and but the house just sold. Even though they understood the background of that neighborhood, but they go in there. When you buy a house, you go in there to make the neighborhood a better place anyway. Because you can be one of those people who are going to watch that neighborhood, who watch your neighbors. That's why we need homeowners in the first place.
Yeah, y'all pray for Marquis. He's in Compton, Indianapolis, and you know how it is in Compton. So watch out for the Bloods and the Crips. All right, so we want to make sure we keep our neighborhood safe too, and we always are looking for good neighbors. But still, if you're going to move into a neighborhood, you want to know who your neighbors are. You want to vet that neighborhood. You want to vet the schools. Are the schools quality schools? Because that's where your kids are going to go. You don't want your kids to be terrorized every day because you didn't do your homework to figure out what's the state of that school that they'll be going to. I mean, you got to think it's not just about you getting a job. I mean, that's so many families have been destroyed because the parents moved into a neighborhood for a job and the family got impacted by the community. So you got to watch out for that. You got to look into that. So, all right. So I see a lot of nodding heads. I'm glad I'm finally getting a good point out. Today's a good night. This is a good night. Kevin, what you got?
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to mention one key area, folks. If you're moving to any part of the country or the world, if they're not selling Adrian's book. Don't move there.
Selling Adrian's book. That's right. Support the People's Congress going to buy her book today. All right, Yamatelli, talk to us. What's happening with Philip Morris?
So they're developing a new strategy, and their strategy is to get 1 billion smokers to stop smoking. Now, that's and actually, when I was reading the article, they were like, "You read that right? 1 billion smokers to quit smoking," which is, I knew there had to be something good or a valid reason for why they would want to do that, and so there is. Their goal is for their consumers to switch to heated products. So pretty much almost similar to like a vaping system. So it's their product called the IQOS. It's an electronic device, and it's listed by the FDA as a modified risk tobacco product. But the interesting thing is, although they want their consumers to stop smoking, the product is still listed as not safe. So in so many words, it's still the same thing. It's just packaged differently. And they said it will alter the taste. Most people and most smokers enjoy that fragrance from the burning, but you'll just have to train your mind. This is what the CEO said. You'll just have to train your mind to adapt to this new program. So they've been working on it for decades, and they've just rolled it out and hope to have good success.
Okay, so let me tell you the picture I got in my head. Let me tell you, because I'm a very visual person. I'm a creative mind. So imagine we all sitting around a campfire and smoke is coming off of the wood. And I'm sitting there watching the smoke, just looking at it. So pretty. And I say, you know what? Let me go get this giant straw and just suck that smoke through my straw just to see if I get it in my body. Because I want to feel nice and warm on the inside. Now, Philip Morris is known for making products that do that. First, it's cigarettes, then it's the e-cigs, and now it's this heat cig that's now going to be heating you up on the inside too. First they send in smoke, now they send in liquid. I mean, e-cig was liquid smoke, and now they're going to do heat. They're trying to cook us from the inside. That's what they're trying to do.
And I'll explain. So it says, the IQOS heated tobacco system gets away from combustion by heating the tobacco in a very controlled manner to release an aerosol, which contains nicotine as well as some flavors. The idea is to create a product which smokers can switch to because the taste and the ritual and the satisfaction, and trying to keep them as close to a cigarette.
All right, so let me break that down for the middle class. What it said, let me level it on out.
Right.
What they're saying is that we're gonna slow cook you, but it's going to taste great. That's what they're saying.
Yep.
All right. Enough joking. I don't really know anything about the product. Don't listen to me. Check it out for yourself. Do your research. Make sure you know what's up with Philip Morris. All right, because you ain't suing me, Philip Morris. So forget about that. Yeah, Kevin. What you?
Can I just speak up for the smokers? Can I just speak up for the smokers? I'm sorry.
Well, wait a minute. I'm gonna let Kevin go first because I know how you can get. Let Kevin go. And we'll come back to you.
I apologize. Go ahead,
No
Kevin.
problem. No problem. Real quick, I always get excited about quotes, guys, but they're just blowing smoke up your nose. Have a good day.
All right. I should have came to you, Adrian. I should have came.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because now I'm like,
they blowing smoke up something, ain't your nose.
They blowing smoke up something, and I don't think that's near nose.
Hey, we got kids watching the People's Congress. Let's keep it safe.
But
all right, what you got?
What I was going to say, and this is real, is that we have a problem because nicotine is a drug. Okay, just like marijuana is a drug and everything else. What Morse is really trying to do right now is just trying to reinvent the cigarette. Because if you think about it, cigarettes are killing you. Cigarettes have been killing you.
Right.
The one
ain't nobody going to jail either.
Listen, and they're not going to go to jail, and all they're trying to do is make it easier for the person to smoke. Let me explain why. The person that smokes a cigarette can smoke a cigarette when they're outside. These things that they're going to cause them to heat thing gives them ability to smoke a cigarette inside. Now, if we were going to be realistic and say, oh, okay, I'm going to stop smoking, but I don't need to stop smoking because now I got a stick that's going to heat me from the inside that I could smoke it anywhere. But when I have my pack of cigarettes, I can go and light up my cigarette. It seems really as if you're really smoking more cigarettes. You still have tobacco. You're still talking about the nicotine. You're not dealing with that fact that I'm just having a habit and I have an oral fixation habit, but you're giving me the nicotine. So it's not like they are replacing a cigarette to make you stop smoking. Yeah. They're just making it easier for you to smoke and nobody else have to smell it.
Okay, that's the truth. I would agree with that. I think you're absolutely right. So this is the time to go out and buy stock in Philip Morris. All right, so let's move on to because they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and of course the states are gonna let them. They've been doing it all along. So, all right, so let's go ahead and wait a minute, Kelly. Did you have anything else on that before we move on?
Yes, actually, 2 points. So one thing that I found interesting is that Philip Morris said that they hope that cigarettes will be become obsolete, that the government will hopefully put their attention more so on this electronic device. And the CEO even said that converting the world smokers is an extremely positive and lucrative business for us. And in 10 to 15 years, we think cigarettes can be out of the market entirely and people will quit or they will continue using nicotine or it'll be a non-combustible way. So this just seems to be a market pitch. I think they know that people are still going to continue to use cigarettes, but it's just all about the money. I guess this is just a ploy to really have people shine the light on Philip Morris, even though it seems like they're still making
it's a setup.
Actually, now that I think about it,
I want you to put your cigarettes down and pick up the marijuana.
All right, so this is now that I look at it,
right?
I've had a second to take a look at it. This is actually a masterful approach to phasing out of cigarettes. I mean, if you think about it from a business standpoint, if you have something that's known for killing people, and the Philip Morris knows what's coming 10, 15 years down the road in terms of legislation, they may already know that they have to phase out of tobacco. And so now they're positioning themselves as the one who's providing the answer because they're the ones that provided the problem, right? So now they're saying, we're hoping, imagine this, listen to what he said. We hope within 10 years that no one will be smoking cigarettes.
Yes.
I can guarantee you within 5 years, no one will be smoking cigarettes for Philip Morris. If they stop making cigarettes today, there won't even be no cigarettes to buy in 5 years. So don't give me that. You know, number one, we can tell that's all. But the other thing is, he's saying that they're going to start decreasing. It's kind of like what Saa'dia said about supply and demand. They're going to start decreasing their supply of cigarettes and increasing this new cigarette making it, like Adrian said, more available because people can use it indoor and all that. Just my concern. And just a word of caution to the middle class. New technology is unproven. I'm a late adapter. I'll let everybody else go and try a thing. And when I know how it's going to work for them, that's when I finally might get it on the discount. I'm a little cheap too. But the point is, when the e-cigs came out and had all these different tastes and people were blowing smoke and big, thick white clouds of smoke, and they were doing competitions for blowing rings. And I mean, it was some beautiful stuff that they were doing in terms of that. And people were enjoying the taste of it and they weren't smoking cigarettes. So I was like, okay. Then I found out that it's water vapor that they were taking in. And I started thinking, when has it ever been okay to suck water down into your lungs? Then my concern became, this is a new technology. What are the long-term health ramifications of doing that? And now they see that stuff is dangerous and it's caused a lot of problems. So my word of caution is that we don't know what this new form of heat is going to do for you internally. So just be careful. Don't just go out and do it. Just do your research and be careful, because you know what? The middle class is the guinea pigs. I mean, we know it. We make it the biggest portion of the population, and we're the ones they market to because we're the ones that have the buying power, and we want you guys to be safe. We are the People's Congress, and again, we are a part of the ATS. We thank the ATS for giving us this opportunity to have this on the MLT Network, and we're thankful for Antonio T. Smith Jr. for having the vision to help you get empowered and your family get empowered. So we're going to go to Marquis. Just because I want to. Marquis, what do you got?
Well, before I get into what I want to get into, somebody referenced blowing smoke up into the nether region. Did you all know that that was an actual practice to do that?
All right, so I'm about to take Marquise off the show.
Just saying.
Just 1 second. Let me take him back into the studio.
Just saying.
That's knowledge we don't need to use. It's not helpful or empowering.
Actually, no, because that's where the phrase came from. That's where the term came from.
I know that for a fact.
People need to know where it came from. That's
Thank you for sharing.
No, but I say that because it was an actual practice. Now it's not an actual practice. Just like smoking was an actual practice that was recommended by doctors. Now it is not.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that tidbit of information.
There you
Would
go.
you like to move on to your story?
Yes, I would. In reference to this article, in reference to more than 100 U.S. companies, including Apple, are declared or have declared their opposition to the voting curbs that a number of states are considering implementing. And I read this article, and the long story short of it is that all of these companies, I guess, put in their being upset about the voting laws that were passed. So I decided to go and look because I didn't know. And so what I found out is that a lot of the problem is that Republican held states, they changed the laws apparently to make it more difficult for minorities to go vote. And when I was looking, some of the states actually stood out to me. Texas, Arizona. To me, when I saw that, I'm like, they have nothing but Latinos and stuff. So how is that even right? And so it seemed to me that it was just a load of crap. That's what I thought it was until I read a little deeper in it. Because I'm going to tell you what happened here in Indianapolis. Here in Indianapolis, and this is actually by the Indy Star, back during the election, it was brought forward that the early voting places that we had in the city of Indianapolis, where the majority of people reside, we had less places to go to vote than outside of the city in the counties. So in the Democrats, on one side, the city is a Democrat city. Everywhere else is Republican. But you can go outside of the county and hit your voting poll wherever you want to go. No problem. But inside, you didn't have that many places to go. And it changed my outlook, because initially when I first read this article, I'm like, whatever. But it's valid. It's absolutely valid. And I remember that because I did a show on it about that being an issue. So because I didn't see a problem with having an ID to go vote. Me personally, I don't have a problem with that. You should go. The other thing too is people were having a hard time getting into the poll. I'm like, wait a minute, you knew this election was coming for 4 years. Why is it such a hard thing to get to the polls? It shouldn't be an issue because it ain't like you didn't know it was coming. But part of the problem was they had it on one day. Everybody took the days off. Y'all remember that? They took the day off from work. Some people can't afford to take the day off. So now they changed the rule to where it's all week long. And so now, here, especially here in Indianapolis, in the hub area where all of the voters are, they make it hard for you to vote just by the lack of places where you can go vote. So I understand the whole scenario now about, why this is such a trying issue. I don't like some of it, but I understand.
All right, so we know in the middle class that there's a lot of parts of the system that are broken. And this is just one of those areas that's been broken for a long time, and it definitely needs to be fixed. Saa'dia, you had something?
I was just going to say, so Marquis, so they're basically in support of improving instead of limiting the voting. So they're showing their support for open, available voting stations and not restricting voter access.
That's correct.
Right.
Powerful.
So they're trying to improve it in all states? I was a little shocked that you said Texas as one of those states for suppression.
Yeah, the article specifically said they were specifically targeting Black and other racial minorities in Texas and Arizona. That to me doesn't even sound right.
But they needed to do it. And the reason why they needed to do it is because the majority numbers have changed. And what happened was the majority numbers was changing. So where they thought that the Donald Trump was going to really get that vote, they had to then say, okay, well, wait a minute, because I think it was the Mexican numbers. I think when it comes down to percentage, it was Mexicans were more than the African American vote. Because in the very beginning of this thing, they were trying to get, how are we going to get the Black and brown vote? How do we get the Black and browns involved in the election? Like, because if you watch the way that they were standing on the campaign when it was all the people, the Black and brown people weren't even involved. That was what they were talking about. How are we going to get the Black and brown people involved in this election? How are we going to get it? So they were been trying to, and then when they start to get involved, that's when they said, okay, well, now we got to make it hard, because now they can just show up and they can vote, and then this will be a landslide of votes.
Right.
So the way that they started to do it was they you know how you try to stack the deck so that you can just try to make sure that it's uncomfortable to listen. If you really if you try to win something, you know, and I mean this, if you try to win something, you're gonna have to try to win it.
Right.
If you don't try to win it all the way,
right,
the question really is, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Well,
you know, I was wondering what Jerome thought about it too, because he's staring like he has something to say.
Oh, I do, but I'm very courteous.
All right, well, go ahead. You got it. And then we're gonna go to Tanya. We're gonna go to Jerome and then Tanya.
What I thought was very interesting in our last election was there were 5 primary cities that were most of the lawsuits were filed in reference to the fraudulent election, where votes were being stolen and it wasn't counted properly. Come to find out that those 5 major cities were minority cities, which was so unfortunate. And the sad part was that in nearly every case, there was no fraud found. There was no problems with it. But yet, that there was fraud going on. And the laws that are coming out now throughout the U.S. are perpetrated on supposedly the last election being a fraud, which is so unfortunate and so sad. And you know, it's unfortunate because it goes back to our democracy and our Constitution, because the right to vote belongs to everybody. It's not just for Blacks. It's not just for whites. It's for everybody. And when we take away that basic right to vote, then we take away people's constitutional rights. And we in the middle class, if we don't stand up and say anything, then we let it go on. I think the sad thing about America is, first of all, we have very short memories. And from 2 years to 4 years, we forget about the way we've been treated. And we have these wonderful politicians that tell us they're going to take care of us and protect us. And we vote them in the office. And then when they get in the office, they tell us what's best for us. And we go, okay. And we keep doing that, whether it's the red team or the blue team. And we don't stand up and go, wait a minute. What about us? What about us? And we keep letting them do that. If you keep letting them do that, folks, we deserve exactly what we get. That's what I love about Mexit. That's what I love about ATS, because we know that we've got folks out there in positions of power who are using that power for themselves and say that they're looking out for us. But when you read the fine print, like Marquis said, you find out there's more to the story than what's on the surface. So you got to do your homework. I love the way Kevin and Saa'dia were saying about being educated. We've got to get educated so we can be informed consumers, we can be informed constituents, and we can make a difference, and we can change the middle class, and we can be successful. That's all I got to say.
Can I
Very good. I like that.
I'm going to get Marquis to final word on this. Go ahead, Marquis.
What, brother, you spoke it all, but I want to add a little mix to that. in reference to the IDs, over the last 10 years, from my memory, we've had an influx of driver ID laws change. And here in the state of Indiana, we've had a lot of people, illegals. I don't know if that's politically correct or not. I don't know, but we've had a lot of illegals get driver's licenses.
Yeah.
And for me, that's completely wrong, because now they have access to go vote, which they shouldn't be voting because they're not legal citizens. But now we have people in government who's actually allowing the legalization of these people getting driver's license. Now, people have gone to jail in the DMV because once it all came out, people went to jail, but yet it's still happening with the blessing of government. And so then you have to figure out, and then you have to figure out, well, what's the political driver? When does it happen and who are they targeting? And then you have to say what political party is motivated to do it. And you could say both of them, whatever flavor of the week is, that's who they're doing it. So at the end of the day, we the people suffer for the dramatic nonsense of the government, and we get caught in the middle of it. And it's that mess has to stop.
Well, I think Jerome was right. Jerome said it. He nailed it. If we have all the power and all the voting power and all the things, the officials we elect, whether they are Democrat or Republican, we get what we get when we put them in office. And when they switch up in office to do what they want to do, we got that too. But this keeps happening over and over. It doesn't matter who the president is. Obama, Trump, Bush, Biden, all of them. My question to the Congress is, how can we change it? For example, if your platform, if this is what your platform was when you were running, you should be held legally accountable to do exactly what you told your constituents you were going to do. And if you get in office and you switch up on them, there should be repercussions. There should be that. It just means you lied to the people just to get in office. And once you got in office, you did what you wanted to do. Right? But there seems to be no recourse. It's like, and I stay out of politics. You know why? Because they're a bunch of liars. So I've learned that even from when I was a little boy. Like they'll tell you what they want to get in office, and once you get in there and they change it, and all you hear around you is adults complaining about, I can't believe I voted for him. I can't believe they're doing this in the Congress now. I can't believe that senator lied. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Now, there are honest ones, but you know what? There's no one senator or one congressman can make anything happen. And the president has to be accountable for lying to the people just to get in office. I'm telling you, I haven't even seen a time where they said, well, you ran on this platform, but you changed your mind. Why did you do that? Speak to your people. No, they just roll with the punches. It's almost like it's expected. Now, as Americans, I love America. You know what? I've been out of the country. All right. So I've seen other countries. So it's not like we have it really that bad here, because in other countries, they can just come get you and kill you. I mean, so we have some semblance of law here, but there really needs to be more cohesion between the states, more protection for the people, and the people should be able to vote in people they can trust. I mean, what's going on with that? Do you think this system will ever get fixed?
Well,
when we start to pay attention, when people start to really care, people really don't care. We care, but the majority of people don't care.
But they don't care because they think their voices aren't heard. They think
that.
Not.
Yeah, you're right.
They're like, why? It's not going to change anything.
Well, that's the thing. We got to help them step up. See, that's the thing. We got to step up.
But Kevin, how do you step up, though? I mean, we say that.
Yeah.
But how do you step up?
Let me give you a couple of ideas, guys. First of all, and everybody knows this, you got to be involved. Okay, you got to be involved. Second of all, first of all, actually, you got to be educated on how the system works. That's the first thing. Understand how the system works. Secondly, get involved. And guess what? I'm tired of folks complaining about stuff when they ain't even called the congressman or the senator or the alderman about the issue. Did you call them? Did you write them? No. Did I email them? No. What are you talking about? So
did you vote?
Yes. Did you vote? The solution is be involved. You have the power, ladies and gentlemen. ATS has the power. Mexic Exit has the power. But guess what? It's called work, ladies and gentlemen. You have to work it.
But Kevin, I think there's a whole group of people that say, well, you know what? I'm not going to vote. I don't care what's going on because God has determined a predetermined course. It's going to be what it's going to be. This doesn't affect me at all. I'm just going to go about my life because I'm this small piece of a huge, world. I can't change it anyway, but I think that we're all parts of the body. And so if we can continue to educate, get the millennials to vote.
Right.
This year, we took our millennials with us to go vote and took pictures and put it out. Get your millennials out to vote because the millennials now, they're very aware of social issues. I mean, that's a return to what used to be in the 60s, right? And so I think that we have a chance of getting people to start caring, to go out and vote, to get together for grassroots causes. If you see them out for Blue Lives Matter, they're out for Black Lives Matter, then yes, they will support other issues. We just have to find the way to get them involved.
Absolutely. And I think, Saa'dia, you mentioned two things that I was thinking about real quick is impact. How is that going to impact me? I need to understand that. Now, if you don't care about that after that, that's okay. Now, if you don't care if your house is getting ready to get taken from you because you didn't get involved, that's okay. But I'm just saying impact. And of course, the next part of that, you got to be involved, ladies and gentlemen. That's the key. We want you to understand the why. And so the two areas is why and the impact. Now, if you don't want to do nothing about it after that, that's on you. But we want you educated, ladies and gentlemen, on how to respond properly. You don't respond in a negative way. You respond with information and power. That's what we do.
All right. So this is the assignment for the middle class right now. This is your assignment. Find out who your local representatives are. First step. Who is your mayor, governor? Who is your congressman, your senator? Find out their names. Second part of your assignment, get their phone numbers. Do some research. Go online. You can Google it. Find out their email addresses. And the third thing is to put together a comprehensive explanation of how you feel about what they're doing. So
now, comprehensive, can you break that down for us?
Yeah, comp means do, prehensive means do it fast. Comprehensive. So a complete, well thought out plan for what you think they should do, what they did wrong. Let them know how you feel. And if you voted for them and you're not in agreement, let them know you voted for them and you're not in agreement with what they're doing. Because one thing they don't want to do is mess up their base. So the people who supported them to get them in the office. But get involved. That's what the get involved part means. It's not sitting in your house and just complain. It's know that you've been given power to communicate to your elected officials, to let them know how you feel and the things that you want to change. Because the only way things are going to change is if you speak to that change and you let them know that you're ready for them to make a better decision if they should get elected next time.
Right.
Now, speaking of senators, let's talk about Senator Warren. Senator Warren, Saa'dia, what is he talking about that's fundamentally wrong?
Well, one thing I wanted to say is I thought it was time for a Mexit poll, since this was such an important topic we're talking about, to say, do you think the middle class has changed their view on voting after going through the COVID shutdown and disagreeing with some of their senators' choices, as well as receiving the stimulus and how it has benefited us as middle class? How many of us think it might have changed some of our middle class friends and people's opinion? Well, do we think it made a change?
Change it in what way?
Positively. Do you think
so
that they will get involved?
Okay.
After what we've gone through.
They should get out and get involved now.
Right.
I think they should get out and get involved. So that's half of the team. And there's a thought that, and this is just a thought that's out there, that it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for, because these things, people have voted for years and stood their ground for years, and they're still not benefiting from it. It's kind of like sometimes when you give to an organization year after year after year that's supposed to help you, and when you finally need their help, all of a sudden they have no money to give you. Sorry, we don't have it right now. And you're like, but I've been giving faithfully for 10, 15, 20 years. My family has been giving for generations. Now that I need help, there's nothing here for me. So you're believing in a system that's supposed to be there directly to help you, but you're not being helped. And I think that's where the disconnect is occurring in government. And again, that's what we're talking about here. When it comes to the ATS, when it comes to Mexico, we can't depend on the government for everything. You just can't. You just can't. Why? Because if you expect anything different than you've always gotten, then that's insanity. Because that's not how that works. We have to get involved. We have to try to create change locally within our own areas. Matter of fact, why don't you run? If you're a middle class and you got a strong voice and you have a following, why don't you run for a local office? You know, you can run for city council. You can run for mayor. You can even run for governor. You can do it yourself. So maybe if we get some people in there that actually cares about the middle class, that won't flip flop when they get funding from big tech companies or big conglomerates, then maybe you can make some sound decisions for your area and we can start there. But we definitely have to make a change now. This is the season to do it. This is the time, because we don't want another 10, 15, 20 years of what we're getting right now. So let's go ahead to the story about Senator Vaughan, Saa'dia, if you don't mind. What's happening with him in fundamental, what's fundamentally wrong?
What's happening? So can you?
Okay, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Okay, so Senator Warren believes that, you know, when people file for bankruptcy, they can get free of car debt, you know, the value over their homes, you know, credit card debt. There are lots, you know, bills, little things following you behind. They can negotiate when you file for bankruptcy on how you can keep your house and your car. The one thing you can't get rid of is student loan debt. Okay, so you can still have $100,000, $50,000 of student loan debt, and you can't get rid of it. Well, that kind of defeats the purpose. And so she feels like the system is broken. That, you know, if people can't pay for their homes and their cars, how can they still continue to pay for student loans? And so for those, what they're doing is causing people who might have otherwise, they're causing people who might have, you know, been able to afford to pay for their bills to file for bankruptcy. So they're forcing them into bankruptcy in some cases, because they have to pay for their student loans. And so they're putting forth, to the House Judiciary Committee, they're putting forth, along with Warren, saying, hey, what about consumer bankruptcy reform? You know, they're created an Act of 2020, which says we had Chapter 7, we had Chapter 13. What if we combined them both? The one was for business, one, you know, was personal. What if we combined them both into Chapter 10?
Now, if you combine them, that'd be Chapter 20, wouldn't it?
I was about to say, make them 20. That would make them 20.
Yes. Why don't we combine those two into one system, Chapter 10, and include broader eligibility? So increase how you can qualify for getting rid of or discharging student loans in the bankruptcy process. So
Man, go ahead.
I really like that, because when you think about it, you could go, there are people who went to medical school, and it happened to this grandmother in Nebraska, went to medical school, graduated, all this medical debt that they thought they would be able to pay off with their job, and they were unable to get a job in their field to pay off that debt. And so now we had, you know, in the 2018, 19, 20 and 20s, where people were graduating and there were no jobs they could get in their fields. They became salespersons instead. They became nannies. They became all these other, they had to take on all these other roles. They're driving Ubers. They're doing all these things now because there are no jobs in the field that they chose to go to school for. And then some of them just don't have experience. And if you don't have experience, how are you going to get that job?
Right.
So one of the things that she's saying is, you know, in some extreme cases, you know, people may owe $200,000 and they go to file bankruptcy and they still have to pay that. That's medical school, you know.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. Okay.
And so they're saying, what if we increase and broaden the forgiveness of the existing student loan debt? Since bankruptcy doesn't, you know, is not taking care of it. So now the leader, Chuck Schumer and Warren, are talking with the president, who is reluctant, but saying, hey, what if you canceled up to 50,000 in federally held student debt, right? What what would that happen? So now he's charged. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain um, said that the president requested the education secretary to prepare a memo on the president's legal authority before any decision. He's asked also that they put together, this council to see what will happen. So I kind of mentioned this last night. But the crux of the matter is the Democrats ran all of them on campaigns of some way of forgiving student loan, whether all, a little, 10,000. At this point, people are like, well, can you forgive anything? 5,000, 10,000, it doesn't matter. So I mean, it's just a topic that's not going away.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, I don't want to change the subject here, but I want to understand, why is education going up in the first place? I don't understand why it's where it's at in the first place. They didn't change nothing in the system as far as the quality of education. The same professors are there. Some come in new. They're not teaching anything different. That's way out in space somewhere, and brand new technologies that comes in. But I'm talking about, why is education so expensive in the first place? I think it's a form of
I can explain to you honestly.
Wait a minute. I want to finish that. You think it's a form of what, Kevin?
I think it's a way of sorting out the population, in my opinion.
Sorting out the population.
All right. So I have never been to college a day in my life, and I'm proud to say that. So I don't have that debt. There are those who went to college and got scholarships. Thank God for that. They didn't have to pay for it, and that's a beautiful thing, because they're super intelligent people. That's a beautiful thing. But for those who have gone through college and have tremendous debt and the weight of that on their families, I feel really bad for them, because a lot of those people that I talk to can't even get jobs in the field for the debt that they have. So to hear you say, Saa'dia, that they're working on a program that's going to try to forgive that debt or some of that debt, that's a good thing. That's a great thing for the middle class, and I sincerely hope they keep their promises and don't stretch that thing out to 4 years from now, and the people aren't getting any kind of relief. That's something that we know they can do. I mean, it's just a flip of the switch. They can do it really quick. They can come up with $1 trillion on a weekly basis to give to people. They can certainly cancel out student debt and lift the weight off. Matter of fact, the middle class needs some good news right about now. That would be awesome news for the middle class and for all those students who are struggling just to find a place to live, to have food, and get a job that they can work and not be just broke down every day. So anyway, that's a great report, and I hope we have more to say on that report. Does anybody have anything they want to share on that story?
Yes, I do. I always have things to say on student loan debt, considering I do have student loan debt. I think there's a number of things that are frustrating about it. I think for anyone who's been paying attention, specifically even through the pandemic, and going through and looking at some of the stimulus packages and the money and the resources that are going to other countries and that are going to different programs, but you have not instituted some type of student loan forgiveness, it makes absolutely no sense. Charity starts at where? At home.
Come
and
on.
The fact that student loan forgiveness, reconciliation, reformation, whatever you want to call it, is still a topic that is looming. It's rather appalling, and I do agree with Senator Warren, which is good, because I've been following her for a little while, and she has some very interesting ideas. But I will agree with her and the other leaders who feel that student loan reconciliation is needed, because for so many graduates, you obtain a degree, but you still feel that you don't even have that big of a leverage over someone else. There are plenty of people who are getting positions without a degree. And so when you do, in my case, as I've mentioned on previous shows, that I've obtained a degree, but at that point, the standard changes. So I get a bachelor's, now you're requiring a master's, now you're requiring a doctorate. I mean, and at that point, loan after loan, because of some of these companies, which I'm calling them out, you don't want to offer any tuition reimbursement, so I have to come out of my pocket. And I was one that qualified for a lot of scholarships, but then I arrived at the college and they're like, oh, well, this is this fee, and there's this fee, and there's this fee. I'm like, you don't put any of these on that packet that you send me. Oh, you qualify for all of these, scholarships, outstanding work. I mean, so it's just easy. At that point, what do you do if you don't prepare for that type of financial undertaking? You just sign your name and okay, I'll deal with the loans right after. But this is something that needs to be taken care of right away, because student loan debt, especially for those who have their doctorates, I mean, anyone. I was reading an article where a student or a graduate, she went to a private university and came out owing $220,000 just for an undergraduate degree. Now, once I read that, I said to myself, well, your situation ain't that bad. But $220,000 for student loan she said she had a great experience, and I hope so. It better be the experience of your life for $220,000. So I have to say.
All right, so let's take a poll. How many of the Congress still has student loan debt that they need to pay off? Show of hands. That's half of the Congress. Yep, that's about right, 50%. All right, so you guys know exactly how that feels. And look, we want to tell you guys, look, middle class, we represent you. And you can see right here, we got people on both sides of that, right? There are people who are struggling to pay their normal bills. Then you have this kind of bill on top of that. And it just makes you kind of feel stressed out. So this is the question. What's the remedy? I mean, what can be done to help the middle class with this issue?
You know what? I would add, as far as right now, I will leave that to somebody else. But I will say to your children, to get them set up to not have to go through what we're going through, you have to set them up to be very smart, to be very educated. What we're doing right here is you need to come on in, entry-level stuff, make the most of it, bring your family, bring your kids, because poverty is real. And just in my experience, a lot of times, people will get out of high school, have kids, and, you can't recover from having children.
Yeah, that's good.
I've heard, children over 18-year span is upwards of $600,000 per child.
Yeah.
I mean, I can attest to that because my child right now has like several dents in his wall that I have to repair.
That he would have to repair once I gave him the tools.
Don't get me wrong. It's going down.
Okay.
But when you're talking about money, it's best to educate yourself so then you can educate the people that are coming after you. I think that so we won't repeat the sins of the past.
Yeah, that's good. And there's ways that your family can prepare for your children to go to college. You want to start when they're really small, to start putting some plans in place, to put money aside. There's different financial ways for you to do that, brother. And we're not going to get into that because you need to seek financial assistance from a CPA or somebody that handles that kind of thing. But you just want to ask the questions and get prepared for it so that if they want to go to college, that money is available to help them and it won't be a burden on you, in your future. But we want to make sure that at least you're making an informed decision. Tanya.
Well, I was just, sitting here and listening to everyone. And I just remember when I was in school, we had like trade programs like automotive, doing hair. And then I noticed those programs kind of was taken out of the schools, like HVAC, doing air condition and those type of things. And when I went back to visit, I noticed that those classes were removed from the educational system. So teaching our kids young about having to own their own business, and you could do that through ATS.
That's right.
Teaching your kids young at an early age, how to be entrepreneurs and how to be, business owners at a young age. So, they can have their own employees instead of being the employee. They'll be the CEO at an early age and learning a trade early. And
that's good. No, you're right. And I think that's something that it's your responsibility as a parent. And you know what? To be honest with you, it's our responsibility as the community to make sure that if there's kids in our community or in our family whether they're your kids or not, you need to be speaking into that. And I'm gonna tell you something that happened to me. So I was in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was the general sales manager for the Light 103.9. It's a gospel radio station. And Jill and I, we had recently moved there. We had 2 small kids. And one of the employees that works with us, her name is Zena, beautiful, special lady, very intelligent. She had come by and she stopped by to see Jill and I and the kids. Well, when she came in, she saw the kids playing on video games and watching Disney movies on TV. And she looked around. I was like, what's going on? And she says, do you have any books? And I was like, what? She said, do they have library cards? And I was like, no. And she educated me. She said, you need to get them library cards so they can start reading. And she was like, all this electronic stuff is not good. And, we went out and got library cards, and it has helped, especially one of our children. I'm not going to talk about the other, but at least it helped with one of our children. But the point is, we are responsible for each other, and we have to take time to educate each other on what we don't know. And if you see somebody slipping or somebody tripping, tell them, because you know what? If you let them fall, when they fall, they might hurt you. So let's make sure that we're looking out for each other and we're educating each other. All right. So Jerome, you got something?
I do, sir. This problem with student loan debt, it needs to be fixed by the government because the government broke it. And I can testify to that because in 1974, I graduated from high school.
Whoa.
In 1975, I went to Morgan State University for 1 year. The first semester, they gave me $1,200. The second semester, they gave me $800. It cost me a total of $1,200 for the whole year. The rest of the money I put in my pocket and had a good time with, and $1,200 of that was student loans. By the time I finished with school and went into the military, I owed them $800 in student loans. I didn't pay that money off, but they came back later and asked me for it, and I politely gave it to them. But it only cost me $2,000 total for that whole year to go to Morgan, only to realize I wasn't ready for academia, so I went into the military. Fast forward, 1996, I get out of the Army, I go back to college to get my bachelor's degree. The Army pays for everything, didn't cost me a dime. They gave me a stipend to go, but I had $30,000 in credit card debt, right? I was also qualified for student loans. Guess what I did, Saa'dia? I took all that student loan money, paid off my 17% interest credit card debt, and ended up with 2% interest on my student loan. Today, I'm still paying off that student loan debt at 2% interest, and it's tax deductible. That 17% wasn't. Well, how come it cost so much money to go to school? Because back then it didn't, and even the interest rate on student loans was cheap, but not today. They gave those student loans to people. They shot those interest rates up. People can't afford them. The government broke this. The government needs to fix this. I still pay my student loan debt, $45 a month at 2% interest, and I write off of my taxes at the end of each year. Hello,
wow. All right. Well, Adrian, you got Adrian. All right, let's get Adrian unmuted, people. Get ready. Hold on. Just everybody hold on. All right. We're ready for you, Adrian. Go ahead.
Did you say $45 a month?
That's what he said.
$45.
You're paying your student loan $45 a month.
I owe about $2,000 more. I owe about $2,000 more dollars.
When you say you graduated in 70 what?
I graduated in 74, went back and got my degree in 2002.
Oh, so you're talking about the debt in 2002. This is the debt you're talking about that you're still paying.
$30,000 back in 2002, and I owe them about $2,000 now.
Okay.
And that was just 2 stimulus checks for you, right?
So like I said before, y'all, whatever you do,
I'm not paying it off.
I know that.
Finance a house to try to figure out how to pay something.
Oh no, we already addressed that. He's not doing. Nobody is doing that. Nobody.
I'm just letting y'all know, like that. The
No.
whole thing. I just sat there. I just wanted you to talk. I was hoping and praying that by the end of it would be done. It'd be over. Y'all would have graduated from college. Y'all would have gotten together, gotten your jobs and everything, and just went on about your businesses. Because I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God. Shout out to Senator Warren. Senator Warren has been the voice in government that's speaking up about the things that people don't speak up about. I don't know who he is or where he came from, but I appreciate the people that voted her into where she's at. This woman is changing the narrative of everybody's conversation just by offering the suggestions that she's offering. It's almost kind of like, I just like the fact that she goes, this is what you call thinking outside of the box. We already have the A, B, and C. This is what we need to do, A, B, and C. This lady comes up with D, E, and F and tells you that G is the best. That's a politician that you really need, though. I was just listening to the story because I'm thinking that this whole story is just something so that we can keep talking, so that we can feel like somebody cares, so that we can feel like they're really doing something for us. And even in the story, it sounds so good. I was thinking, Dad, I might even want to go to school. But you do know that the man that made college, he didn't even go. The man that thought of the university, he didn't even go.
That sounds just like Stephen. That's a Stephen model right there.
And this is why Stephen is in charge of the People's Congress.
Come on,
this is why Stephen is helping us getting in to the Mexican. And this is why we need more people like a Stephen and the Antonio T. Smith Jr.'s and the people out there that know, guess what? Bro, you ain't got to go to school to get what we're trying to give you. We can take you and we can do it for you. And not only will we do it, we're going to show you how to set it up so that your kids will be good. This is what we need. All of this, I'm helping you today, and you're 30, and we're going to help you, and this, that, and the other thing. Help me like help my 4-year-old.
Yes,
help me help my 4-year-old. Put my 4-year-old in the same class with me, and then, because I'm struggling, but my 4-year-old is going to get it. All I can say is everybody that got a student loan debt, if you have to pay it, pay it. If you can call somebody, call somebody. The one thing you should never do is ignore it. That's the problem. We as middle class, we fall into the trick because we ignore something. There's something that says on that promissory note that you will make a voluntary payment. And out of, if you didn't hear anything else that I said all day, remember there's a difference between voluntary and involuntary. Because if you owe money and then they take your student loan, that is not a voluntary payment because you did not get it. So don't believe, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to have this struggle. And they're going to keep taking my income taxes and this, that, and the other thing. And it's helping me. No, because until you make voluntary payments on things, the government has every right to do everything that they want to do to you. So what I say is sending them $1. Look, send them $1. Get associated with the ATS so you don't have to go to college. Because ATS actually, I ain't gonna drop it. We ain't gonna drop it. We ain't gonna drop it. I ain't even gonna say it.
She almost spilled the beans. She almost spilled the beans.
I ain't gonna say it. But I will say, watch what you're doing. And right now, anyone that's telling you that you got to pay a whole lot of money to get this information, or you got to pay a whole lot of money for us to help you, or you got to pay a whole lot of money for us to be considered an American or whatever, please walk away from them. They just trying to keep you in the middle class. They trying to keep you in the mindset that know that I need them. I can't go too far off left because they might not give me my next check or whatever. All this financial stuff they're doing for us is like, it's actually modern day slavery as far as I'm concerned. Because I just listen to all y'all talk and I'm sitting there thinking,
all right, so this is what we're going to do.
I'm glad the mute button works.
All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do final thoughts, not final stories, and then we're going to wrap this bad boy up for the night. Let's start off with Tanya. Final thoughts on anything.
I just liked all the stories that we talked about tonight. Mainly this one, and then the one about the one that Telly did. Oh, I think it's this one. Just about the school and the debt, and Adrian and her comments. Send them $1.
All right.
So
All right,
I just, I'm just thankful for, the talks back and forth about the different topics on tonight.
Okay. All right. Telly.
Send them
So
$1.
it would definitely have to be this story. Student loan
in $1.
reformation is imminent. It is something that has been talked about for so long, but it's something that now needs to be enacted. There are so many people that are struggling because of student loans, and especially with the pandemic. We actually need assistance. Like, we need the government to actually work for a change. So fix student loans.
All right. All right. You heard it from the queen herself. All right, Marquis.
I'll pass.
I'm about to say, brother, you scare me. You just scary, boy. You never know what Marquis is going to say. All right, let's go. No, I ain't letting you off that easy. What's your final thoughts?
You know what? We are very smart people. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter who you are. You're very smart. And I want to be able to sit here and look at you in the face and encourage you that you are wonderful, you are intelligent, and you cannot allow anybody to tell you otherwise. So take what you can learn, make the best of it, make the most of it, keep on learning. And that's all I got.
All
Much
right.
love.
I decided to pull you up full screen for that one. All right, Roman Rome, what you got?
My final words are to Kevin and Saa'dia. You guys were phenomenal tonight. And folks, those out there in the middle class, those out there who are struggling, listen to those guys, because if you listen to them tonight, and they've said it before, you got to be educated. You got to make sure you do your due diligence, do your homework. The solution you seek, the answers you're looking for, they start within you. But there's a lot of information out there that you can get yourself attached to and find and help you get where you need to go. And all we are is nothing more than a platform or a tool to help you. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Saa'dia. You guys killed it tonight.
All right, Kevin, you are up.
Ladies and gentlemen, your future is so bright. Had to put my shades on for you. You got to understand. You got options. You got opportunity. And guess what? The playing field is unlimited, ladies and gentlemen. My pastor real quickly said, you don't have to think outside the box. You got to know that the box, there is no box. That means you can do anything you want to do. But ladies and gentlemen, you have to have a plan. You got to have options. You got to sit down and look at all the impacts, what you have to do. We can do that with the Mexit and the ATS system, ladies and gentlemen. We give you strategies, we give you information, and we give you knowledge. There's nothing you can't do. Welcome to your future, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, and we go to the money lady herself, Saa'dia.
I've really enjoyed our conversations that we have that not only include our diverse views on money, on debt, on investments, because all of this is educating us as the middle class. Everything we're doing is about informing, hopefully improving our lives. ATS is the way, thank you, Adrian, that we can do that. So, I, for one, plan on signing up for that crypto class because I definitely want to learn more about cryptocurrency. And I just encourage everyone, there are free ways that we can get information through the internet. There, on Facebook, there's a group for about everything. Meetup.com, there's a group literally for everything. So if there's something you want to learn, find a way to learn it and apply it in your life.
All right. And we definitely want you to go to one place that has what you need, and that is ATS. All right. So we're going to give Adrian, unmute you right here. There you go. All right, Adrian, hold a second. Let me pull you up full screen. All right, you have the floor. Did you mute yourself?
She's muted.
Unmute. Okay, hold up. See, this what happens. It says can't unmute your guests because they chose to mute themselves. Come on.
That's horrible. Okay, here we go. They just try to play that because it was at the end. I didn't have anything to say but thank you. All I wanted to say was thank you, thank you, thank you. And the reason why I say thank you is because there is a lot of information that we go through sitting in this Congress. I appreciate you for your knowledge, especially like Jerome just said, Kevin, Saa'dia. I mean, like, girl, we gonna have to talk because you can help me. You can help me because I know that I'm sitting at the platform because I appreciate the fact that I get the ability to sit at the platform where you can actually learn something. Because trust me, people, I'm serious as hell about some of this stuff. But we need to learn this stuff in order to have a future. We can't continuously go the way we're going and think and believe that we're going to be winning. We're on the top. We're doing this thing. I hate to tell you, but if you peeked into the Bible and you know anything about the story, it says that we do win. So it is time for us to start to become the champions that we need to be. The way that we start to win this thing is by learning the information that we need to learn. By tuning in to things of this nature where it's a little bit difficult. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm gonna tell you, send your dollar payment. And then if they get mad at you, tell them go on to Misunderstood Adrian and tell them I send them a message for you explaining the why you did it. And the last thing I want to tell you is go on and get yourself a book and understand that, child, you done survived through some tough times, and some of them have to be doing with student loan debts and everything else. But you always remember that we all in this thing together. And no matter how we can work it out, if I can help you pay your bill and you can help me get out of jet because I didn't pay my bill, then we all gonna work it out together. I appreciate all of you. And Kevin, thanks for keeping those glasses on for our bright future.
All right. For everyone here, for the People's Congress, for Mexit and ATS, we thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next show.